Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bell Ringers podcast. You've got Colin Daly, Ben Goldstein out here wishing you a happy holiday season. And I'll tell you, there are not too many better Christmas gifts than being a Dodgers fan right now. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Shohei Ohtani, each signing ridiculous contracts to the Dodgers, and they are seemingly building a dominant franchise out in the West. Unfortunately, there's not much the Phillies can do to stop this. They put in a bid for Yamamoto, came up unsuccessful, along with the Mets and the Yankees and the Cardinals and the Blue Jays. But again, we have our Nola, we have our Harper, we have the players, but it is going to be very hard to outcompete the Dodgers this year. Ben, do you have any initial takeaways from this?
Well, my initial takeaway is, how about this new intro music, huh?
It's very impressive.
Very impressive. Anyway, I mean, it's not good. The Dodgers are building a super team, and as a very anti-super team guy, it's really making me not happy, and it's going to be a much tougher road in the National League. And also, the Dodgers this offseason have spent over $1 billion on two players, Ohtani and Yamamoto. One of those players has never pitched a pitch in the major leagues.
So
it's crazy.
It's going to be a 12-year, $325 million contract for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. As you mentioned, he's never pitched a day of professional baseball in the United States of America. Yet he got the largest contract a pitcher has ever gotten. He topped Garrett Cole by $1 million. Listen, now, first, why are you an anti-super team guy?
I just don't think they ever work other than the Warriors a couple years ago when they had KD's Curry and Klay Thompson. Other than that, I don't think I've ever seen a super team work, especially not in baseball, because baseball is such a interesting sport where it's like the whole team needs to play well. You can't just have a couple good guys. Where the Dodgers have a great team overall, but I'm just so anti super team. I just don't think they ever work. And it really just ruins the sport because it makes it so uncompetitive sometimes. And with this Dodgers team, a lot of these, they might break the record for the most wins in a major league season.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy what they've been able to establish, I should say over the past couple of years, but really just in the past couple of weeks here. And I'll tell you, it's hard to justify, in my opinion, a $325 million 12-year contract for a guy who's never played professional baseball in the United States. I mean, I know some people are like, oh, the Phillies could have afforded that. I saw that on Twitter this morning. I saw all this stuff. But at the end of the day, what makes someone want to commit that much money to a player who, whether we want to accept it or not, is probably a wild card at this point right now? I mean, is Yoshinobu Yamamoto going to be a very, very good pitcher for the next 12 years? I would say it's more than likely, but I have more confidence in a guy like Zach Wheeler or Blake Snell or Sonny Gray going into next year, who have been established pitchers in Major League Baseball for the better half of a decade, if that makes sense.
And another thing is, you got to think about it. The Phillies don't have the money to go out and be spending on Yoshinobu Yamamoto. They don't currently have $330 million to spend. They just spent $300 million on Trey Turner last year. They're still paying Bryce Harper, and he wants more money. You have a ridiculous Nick Castellanos contract that you're currently utilizing right now. We just signed Aaron Nola to a major extension. A Zach Wheeler extension looms. There's so many guys that are getting paid so much on this roster that the Phillies don't have right now for Yamamoto. So I don't think the Phillies were very likely to get him. Obviously, it would have been very fun. I don't know what the Phillies offered Yamamoto. I don't think it was anywhere near $300 million. I can tell you for sure, it definitely did not start with a 3. But
No.
it all is good when the Mets miss another big free agent because they have now missed another one, and they gave Yamamoto the same exact deal that the Dodgers did, but Yamamoto picked the Dodgers over the Mets. So that's always great to see because I hate the Mets, and I mean he's in the National League, but at least he's not in the NL East. And
for
also,
sure.
what if the Mets haven't done anything this offseason? Like they were supposed to get all these. They were supposed to be in on Otani. They were in on Yamamoto. They've been trying to get these big names, and they haven't got anyone yet. So it's fun to see, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the continuous downfall of the New York Mets.
I wouldn't say I'm completely surprised by that. I mean, I think that the Mets made it a little bit clear that they wanted to be in a bit of a rebuild phase this year. I mean, I from what I understood based on Cohen's comments is that they don't want to go into a full, 4 or 5 year rebuild. They want 1 year to, dump some contracts, test out some minor league players, and I think next offseason is when the Mets are going to be very, very active. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it's like Dodgers level active next offseason. But I don't think the Mets are going to have a ton to do right now, just because I think the state of their team, really the uncertainty surrounding their team, I think is what's going to have them refrain from making too many acquisitions. On the other hand, though, the Phillies, I think, could kind of be in the opposite boat.
Yeah.
JT Realmuto is aging, Bryce Harper is aging, Nick Castellanos and Kyle Schwarber's contracts are, you know, we're reaching the back nine of those per se. So I think if there's a time to really, really put the pedal to the metal and try and grind out, an NL East title or trying to make another very deep run in the postseason, this is the time where you have to do it. And I think the Phillies are capable of being a World Series team, but getting extra reinforcements doesn't help. There doesn't not help. So, even if it's a bullpen guy or a third outfielder, these are the things that make or break World Series caliber teams. So I wouldn't be against the Phillies, trying to go out and make a couple more signings this offseason.
Yeah, I think we're getting to that a little bit later in our show, so I don't want to go full in depth on that.
Right.
But the Phillies really have not done anything other than re-signing Aaron Nola, and the Phillies have spent the second most this offseason and have signed one guy.
Yeah,
Jeff
that's
Passan
absurd.
put that out a couple days ago, and it just shows you how much the Dodgers have dominated this offseason. I mean, they have traded for Tyler Glasnow and gave him a major extension. They signed Otani, which we haven't even talked about yet, which we're going to get to now because I'm going to flow into that now. And they've signed Yamamoto. The Dodgers are going to be really good for a long time, and especially with Shohei Otani. Hello, $700 million. And what's crazier is I know Colin's a big math guy, so he can get into this more. Is the deferrals he got? He's getting
Oh,
$2
yeah.
million while he's playing every year, and then he's getting $680 million the next 10 years. What in the world? I don't know how that wasn't in the CBA somewhere, how that just can't happen, but the MLB cannot let that happen. Like, that is absurd. That's crazy that Bobby Bonilla, because that's $680 million and the guy won't even be playing. Like, how? And then they get Yamamoto from that. They re-signed Tyler Glass now. Who knows what else they're going to do in the coming years? So, I mean,
I'm a little surprised by that. I mean, it doesn't seem like a Dodgers thing to do. They've been a dominant team for the better half of a decade now. And it seems like they're throwing away their post Shohei Otani and post Yoshinobu Yamamoto team, right? Because I don't know how much the Dodgers are willing to spend, how much they're willing to pass that luxury tax threshold and lose and continue to lose their draft picks. But there comes a point comes up where you can't keep signing people, right? The money is not infinite, even if you're the Dodgers or the Mets or the Yankees. It doesn't seem like a smart business decision unless the owner or the general manager, whoever made this I guess we'll call it a proclamation, was realizes now that he's not going to be a part of the team in, I guess, what, 10 years, and wants to win now. But it just seems like something that it seems like more of a Mets type of thing to me, a Mets thing or a Padres thing. The team that really haven't had success recently and want to be in that win now mode, and also don't want to have a huge contract on their payroll that's keeping them from developing in the future.
Well, I think the Dodgers are going to be fine no matter what because it's the Dodgers. But they have Freddie Freeman, who is getting older. Even though I feel like the older he gets, the better he gets, but that's
Mm-hmm.
beside the point. Mookie Betts, who is going to be their starting second baseman for the whole year, which may or may not open an outfield spot for Otani if they need it. He
Or even
is,
Cody Bellinger,
or even Cody Bellinger if they want to
which would
bring
be
him back.
insane.
I they have older guys that are still performing extremely well, and I think their window is until Freddie Freeman. I don't know Freddie Freeman's age off the top of my head, but until he retires, that's their World Series championship window. And I saw a question, $1 billion this offseason. That's absurd. Um, ha, just like how many World Series do the Dodgers need to win for these moves to be worth it?
Two, three. I mean, it's ridiculous, is it not? I mean, they signed the two biggest free agents. They acquired who I would consider the most noteworthy person that was on the trade block this offseason. They are a super team. There is no denying it. They have, I would say, probably the most consistent first baseman over the past decade. They have MVP level outfield or infielder now in Mookie Betts. They got their own version of Kyle Schwarber and Max Muncy. Shohei Otani, not even going to go there because there are so many ways I could describe his excellence. Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who, from what I've seen in videos and some statistical breakdowns, is about as good as they come. There's no guarantees with him, but he's pretty crazy. And then, of course, you've got Glass now, who's his stuff is just getting better and better every year. And I think once he's fully healthy and gets a season with Los Angeles, he's going to be a huge contributor. And some of the younger guys for the Dodgers too, like Bobby Miller, James Outman, they're scary. That's all. They're just scary.
Yeah, but I mean, what's more scary than you know, Phillies in the LDS? Am I right?
That's great. I love that. I
Yeah,
love that.
Dodgers. For those not on the video version, listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever, you could also watch on YouTube, or if you're on YouTube, you can go listen anywhere else. But the Dodgers go 162-0. The Phillies win 90 games, and then they match up in the LDS, and it's just Bryce Harper looking very. It's like the LeBron picture, where it's like him locked in. So it's like a picture of Bryce Harper locked in. Um, I mean the Phillies are going to beat the Dodgers just because of vibes. When it comes to October, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when we get there. I doubt it, but I mean, if the Phillies can dominate the Braves like they have been in the NLDS, I don't see why they can't dominate the Dodgers.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how these two guys have an impact because they always say like you know player can't win you the World Series. If that were the case, then the Angels would have been insane last year because they had Mike Trout and Shohei Otani.
The last 3 years,
But can can the Dodgers do that? I think they can. I think
I
they
think
can win 100.
they have more than the Angels had, right? Because not only you named all the names, not only do they have Otani and Yamamoto, they have Freddie Freeman, they have Mookie Betts, they have Will Smith behind the dish, they have Max Muncy who only hits home runs.
Right.
They have Tyler Glass now. They have bullpen. I'm not totally huge. I don't really know the Dodgers bullpen that well, but they probably have a good bullpen.
Oh yeah.
So I'm excited to
Actually,
see the Dodgers in Philadelphia.
last year they were um, probably like it was like average to below average, which is I think one of the reasons why they were a little, I think, subpar for their expectations were. I mean, obviously they still won like 100 games, so I wouldn't say that they had a bad season, but I think some people thought they were going to be a lot better than they were. But I mean, if they get one or two more big, or I'm reading something on my left, if they get one or two more big names, then it's over for the rest of the National League.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Miami's doing in the MLS. They just got Messi, and now these other foreign great soccer players are coming over because everyone wants to play with Messi. Like they just signed Suarez, who's a really good goalkeeper. Like it's the MLS is over. Like the Union are not going to win another playoff game. They won't make it. No one's going to win the MLS Cup for a couple of years, and I think that might be what we get with the Dodgers. The Dodgers will be in Philadelphia in the middle of July, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, July 9th, 10th, and 11th. Hopefully, Yamamoto will be pitching in one of those, and hopefully Schwarber will hit a leadoff home run off of him. So we'll see.
Let's see. On that day, I'll be getting back from Spain.
Oh,
so I might be a little bit jet lagged, but
are we podcasting from Spain?
We might have to. I'll be there for 16 days, so that would be quite the experience. Yeah. All right, now before we get into our next topic, I have a quick question. I'm on Twitter.
X.
What's Grok?
Okay, so Grok is the AI that Elon Musk implemented on X, Twitter. It's basically just ChatGPT, but its name's Grok. On X, you got to pay for premium. You need Premium Plus, so you can pay more money.
Do we have Premium Plus on the sports reports account?
We do not have Premium Plus. I don't even know.
Well, then do we have Plus or do we have Premium?
We just have Premium, which I don't know why there's two of them. There's actually three of them. There's Premium, Premium Plus, and then then there's the organization one, which is $1,000 per month. I don't really know what Premium Plus is. But I mean, I can check. I can check how much Premium Plus is because I am genuinely curious. So we're looking at Premium Plus. We're looking at if this will work for me here. Upgrade to Premium Plus is instead of like $8 a month, it's $114.
Oh, wow.
$99 per year. I don't remember. I think Premium was like $50 a year, so it's probably like double. And then I think the verified organization one is like $1,000 per month.
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
Yeah,
that's strange. All right, we should get into it. Ben, there are 6 questions that I came up with about a little bit less than an hour ago.
Okay.
Now, they're a little all over the place. They're all in some way baseball related, though. Begin.
Well, we got to play our new intro music.
Oh, of course. All right. 6 questions on the board. The timer that I'm not going to actually start. Now, the Rockies and this team have never had a player win a Cy Young Award.
Oh, the Rockies? Oh my God. Can I get AL and NL?
It is in the opposite league of the Rockies.
All right, so the Rockies are in the NL West, so it's AL. So what are some like bad AL teams? It's not the AL West. It's Mariners, Angels. Ohtani's never won a Cy Young. So the Angels are
on time here.
There's no time. There's time.
There's timers in my brain, and it goes out in 3, 2.
Right. Give me the Angels. I think that's wrong, but
all right. Next question. This Phillies pitcher was named after the only U.S. president that served 2 discontinuous terms.
Dude, what are these questions?
These are good questions.
These are random questions. So this
I told you they're all
Phillies,
over the place.
this Phillies pitcher, correct,
Yes.
was named after. Oh my goodness.
So he was the 22nd president and the 24th president. First president after the Civil War.
Okay, so it's after Lincoln, when Lincoln was assassinated. Is it Grover Cleveland Alexander? Okay, I don't feel good about that one.
Which Phillies pitcher accounted for nearly half of the Phillies' wins in 1972?
Steve Carlton.
The award given at the end of every season to the best fielder at each position is sponsored by this company.
Rawlings Gold Glove.
Longtime baseball guy Bobby Dickerson has this role on the Phillies.
Oh, he's the infielders coach?
Which former Phillies manager also managed the New York Mets and Yankees?
The Mets and Yankees. Not Joe Girardi, because he was just the Yankees. So Mets and Yankees, longtime Phillies manager. Can I get was it pre or post 2000?
It was.
He doesn't even know.
It was in that range. I'm 95% sure it was pre 2000. I want to make sure it didn't bleed over into the early 2000s though. No, it did not. It did not bleed into the early 2000s. I guess I can't tell you. Can't tell you when it started and ended.
So I feel like it has to be 90s.
There's only one Phillies manager.
Is it Jim Fregosi from '93 National League champion? Jim Fregosi.
Final answer is Jim Fregosi because we're out of time. All right.
Okay.
Let's go back to the top of the list.
That is the worst I've ever felt about a pepper that we have ever done. The questions are usually.
I was really excited about these questions though. I went on a deep dive for them. Usually, I just come up with stuff on the top of my head. Today, we did some actual research.
Yeah,
all right.
The Phillies pitcher named after I don't know. All right,
let's go. Score first, or are we gonna go through each question?
Let's go question to question.
The first question was incorrect. The Rockies and this team have never had a player win a Cy Young Award. It is the Rockies and the Rangers have never had a player win a Cy Young Award.
Really? Nolan Ryan never won Cy Young?
Nolan Ryan did not win a Cy Young Award. I learned that. You know why? The Immaculate Grid.
Wait, Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young?
Nolan Ryan never won a Cy Young.
That's why I stopped playing the Immaculate Grid then. Okay.
Second question you got correct. It is Grover Cleveland Alexander, named after Grover Cleveland, who, fun fact, his name was actually Steve. I should know that.
Oh.
Which pitcher accounted for nearly half of the Phillies' wins in 1972? Your answer was Steve Carlton. The correct answer was Steve Carlton.
Today's his birthday, Steve Carlton. Happy birthday, Lefty.
I definitely did not do that on purpose.
Yeah, Lefty is the most underrated player one of the most underrated pitchers in baseball history. He is a top 3 left-handed pitcher ever. And I just people don't talk about how dominant Lefty was.
Yeah, I'll give you that one. Let's see. Award given at the end of every season to the best fielder at each position is sponsored by this company. This was, in my opinion, one of the gimme questions, and you got it correct. The Rawlings Gold Glove. Mainly just because the first source of who wins the Gold Glove is on the Rawlings Twitter page for me because I don't watch the show. That's a waste of time. Longtime baseball guy Bobby Dickerson has this role on the Phillies. You said the infield coach. And the correct answer is infield coach.
Let's go.
former Phillies manager that also managed the New York Mets and the Yankees. Your answer was Jim Fregosi, and the correct answer was not.
It wasn't Chipper. Who was it?
Dallas Green.
Really?
Yes, Dallas Green also
Man.
managed the Mets and Yankees.
He was the Phillies manager in the 80s. What do you think he was with the Phillies into the two? You think
No, 96. He was still active.
well, he wasn't the manager because Jim Fregosi was the manager in '93.
Yeah, that's true. I did have to double check my sources though.
I
All
didn't I
right.
didn't know that was how long was
No,
he with the Mets and Yankees for?
that's a good question.
Did he win those World Series with Reggie Jackson with the Yankees?
That is another good question.
I don't know what years. I didn't know that. Did he win a
Oh,
World
I'm
Series in
getting Dallas
'69
Green, the
with the
musician.
Mets?
No. Let's see. Dallas Green. He managed He managed Phillies from 79 to 81. So that is 3 seasons. He spent 89 with the Yankees and then 93 to 96, those 4 years with the New York Mets.
Wait, what years with the Mets? What did you say?
93 to 96.
That was some weird stints because he was with the Phillies for 3.
Indeed.
He won a World Series. Then he was with the Yankees for a random stint when they weren't good, and then he was with the Mets for a random stint and they weren't good. So that's interesting.
Yeah, didn't really have any other great seasons either. He won NL manager. He came in fourth for NL manager of the year in 1994 and sixth in 1995, and of course he managed the All-Star team in 1981. So some fun
Lockout
Dallas
year.
Green facts as the Dallas Cowboys are encroaching on the Eagles' spot atop the NFC East rankings. Had to
We're
do
not
some
talking about
gelatin
we're
there.
not talking about the Eagles. We're talking about
I
the
don't think
Phillies.
I've watched a single Eagles game in full this season. I caught the last 28 seconds of the last game. That was quite disappointing.
We're not talking about the Eagles. We're talking about the
No, I don't think I've
Phillies.
watched more than a quarter of a single game, which is quite sad.
Yeah, maybe you have to start watching. Maybe you'll be the savior of the Eagles.
Maybe. Well, I haven't watched all season, so I'm
Well, it
sure
hasn't been a
I'm
good
pretty
season yet.
unimportant.
So
Fair enough. All right, so we touched on this briefly, but I guess we should go back to it, Ben. What is the priority list for the Phillies right now? What do they need to do to get ready for opening day?
um, they need some more food options at the bank. Is always nice.
Yes, it would be nice. I've had too
Um,
many seasons pizzas.
the season pieces is gone, man.
What?
That was gone a while ago. Manko.
Well, no, you can still get seasons pizza if you go to the second level.
Oh, it's still up there? Nah,
I'm pretty
no.
sure.
Manko's wiped out all seasons pizza. That was like last
No, I'm pretty
2022 that
sure that
happened.
I've had seasons pizza at the ballpark since then. I'm like almost positive.
No, it was
This is crazy.
Manko's, man.
So the last time I
Manko
was there, what the heck
Manko bought the Phillies whole pizza, and it's so much. Manko pizza is so good. It's my kind of pizza, nice, crispy. Like
I love seasons pizza.
that's good.
My
I like seasoned
favorite.
pizzas too, but Manko is very good. They need
Haven't had it at the ballpark. I've had it down in Ocean City, but the line is too long. That's why I don't get Chickies and Pete's. Like there's
that's
baseball to watch.
so when you go to the ballpark and you want pizza, if you go to the third base gate and you know that the bar is right there. I forget what it's
Yeah.
called.
Harry the K's.
No, Harry the Case is up. This is oh man, what is it called? It's not important.
Captain
Um
Stowe? No, that's a different place.
yeah, it's
Is it
something
that
in
one?
Stowe. It's something in Stowe. But it's if you walk third base gate right to the right of that, kind of in a hidden corner, is a Manko whole place, and it's fresh. They put it right in the oven when you get there. Take it out. There's never a line. And then
Hmm.
there's another Manko, right before they used to be called the boardwalk, where they have that whole crazy food area, which is all Aramark crappy stuff.
It's not called the Boardwalk anymore.
I think Coca-Cola bought it.
What?
But right next to it, There's another Manko spot that usually has
I
some
did know
people
about that
there.
one.
And then upstairs, um, or like along 301 to like 309, maybe. I don't know the exact. There's another Manko spot, I think, at the end of that next to a pizza place. I
Hmm.
think. Um,
You know what we're gonna have in our next episode. We're gonna have a lot to talk about this time of the year.
what?
We're gonna rank ballpark food options,
Ooh, all right. Write it down. Write it down.
and I'm
I could
fresh
probably
too
make a
because
list.
2 summers ago I did my little trip to. I went to a game in Lakewood, St. Louis, PNC, Citizen Bank, so we can compare and contrast. And I'm a
Yeah,
big food documenter. Oh,
we saw each other in Lakewood. How about that? Was very
we
exciting stuff.
did. Anyways, outside of the new food options, what are you doing if you're Mr. Sam Fold and Mr. David Dombrowski?
Well, if I'm Sam Fold, I'm not doing anything because that guy doesn't do
Right?
anything. But if I'm Dave Dombrowski, I'm looking at. I think the starting pitching is fine how it is.
I would agree.
You re-sign Nola. If I would like to get Wheeler locked up before the season starts, not locked up like in jail, but his extension. But I doubt that's gonna happen. Um, and I think I would like to see a full season of Christopher Sanchez.
I
If it
agree.
doesn't
He
work out,
deserves it.
you ride with it until the trade deadline. You make a trade. Um, who knows who's available by then? So I would love to see that. And then it's what it always is. A bullpen guy, I would say middle inning bullpen guy, maybe a setup, and another outfielder bat that's probably a righty is what is necessary. But that's really I I don't know what else really the Phillies can or need to do.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's a good plan for them. I think I honestly they didn't really lose much this offseason. Kimbrel, Lorenzen are the two highlights. Lorenzen doesn't count because they didn't give any major league players up to get Lorenzen. He wasn't on the team at the beginning of the year, and they were just fine. Um, Kimbrel, honestly, I feel bad for Craig Kimbrel because he had a really, really good season, and that has been completely overshadowed by his playoff struggles. He got a lot of huge outs for the Phillies. In like June, I want to say June, like May, June of 2023. And now he's just the guy who blew the postseason. I do feel a little bit bad about that, but
Well, here's my thing,
I
and I think we talked about this. I don't know if it happened before the last pod. If it did, I touched on it earlier. But Kimbrel's season was ruined by Rob Thompson. Kimbrel was used way too much, and
I do
partially
agree with
that's
that.
on the offense for not producing. It's on the other guys at the bullpen for blowing games. It's also on Rob Thompson for using him in situations he didn't need to use him. Um, but Kimbrel pitched the most innings of his career, and he's 35. He
Yeah,
was
that's not good.
he was
That's not good.
great up until September. He just burned out. It's way too
Right.
many innings for him. And when you get to the postseason, you gotta do what you gotta do. But there were situations he was used that were unnecessary, especially going back to him in Game 4. 2 days in a row after blowing Game 3, you go back to him in Game 4 in Arizona. He blows it again. I think the managing from Rob Thompson ruined Craig Kimbrel's season. And I was a big Kimbrel fan. I was rooting for him. And then they gave him that intro. He with the lights, he ran out of steam, and he was just used too much. And he could have been really good, and the Phillies could have won a lot more playoff games, like maybe 5 more playoff games. Um, if he was used correctly during the season and the postseason, and he just didn't pitch as many innings. It sucks because he was really good, but he got a lot of money with Baltimore, and that's a
I
crazy
know.
contract. That is like absurd.
What was his kind? Was it 12 point?
I can look it up. They needed a guy like him because they needed veteran presence in that dugout, and they needed a back of the end 1 year, 12 million.
Yeah, that is crazy. All right. Well, I guess that brings us to our last segment of the show, which is going to be a scary one for me. And in honor of the holiday season, we are going to have Ben and a bit of myself ranking the top Christmas movies. So, for those of you who do not know me, which is hopefully most of you listening, 'cause that means we're going to get a lot of support on this video, I'm not a movie person, nor am I a holiday movie person. If you have a question about any, you know, drama or procedural that was on TV from 2018 to now, I'm your guy. If you would like any any of the Netflix shows that people like to binge, I'm your guy. Anything that has to do with a sports thing, I watch that on TV religiously. The movies, you're not going to catch me watching a movie very often. So I have my list, and I'm going to start because I'm not going to take very long.
Let's hear it.
Coming in at number 2, because there is no number 3, because I have not watched 3 Christmas movies in the last 6 years that I can remember. I have watched. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I can do this. Coming in at number 5
5.
is Home Alone 4.
What?
Coming in at number 4 is Home Alone 3. Coming in at number 3 is Elf. Coming in at number 2 is Home Alone. And coming in at number 1 is Home Alone 2.
Wait a second. There's no Home Alone 3 and 4.
There are like 6 of them. They have off-brand characters.
They're not. Those aren't Home Alone movies. Come
Sure
on.
they are. They use the same names. They're called Home Alone.
You've watched all of them?
Well, in the one, they just magically become crazy rich and have a maiden butler. Let's see, Home Alone. Yeah, it's called Home Alone: The Holiday Heist. Is Home Alone 5.
What in the
That one was
world?
not good.
Well,
Home
how's
Alone
it?
4. Let's see. That was.
I also only thought we were
the
doing.
divorce between Peter and Kate, and I don't think. I think 5 is. I don't think there's a 6th. What? There's a 6th?
There's a 6th, everybody. All right, so we doing 5. You did 5, so I'm gonna start my list while you exploring the Home Alone franchise. I didn't
6th
know
one's
existed.
not real.
Okay.
It's called No Parents, No Problems, Home Sweet Home Alone, and does not use the same characters. So
Right,
that's not true.
All right, here's my top 5. Coming in at number 5. I was only gonna do 3, but I guess we'll do 5. Number 5 is Polar Express. A lot of people aren't gonna be happy about that, but I don't like Polar Express. I don't.
What? Isn't that the point of the list?
Well, I haven't watched, 100 Christmas movies. I've maybe only watched 6 or 7, and Polar Express is an iconic movie, but the characters are horrifying. It was made in the early 2000s, Colin. I know you've never seen Polar Express, which is wild, but
I've seen it just in preschool.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you remember.
I remember trains, and I remember being dark. That's it.
There's the 2000s animation that they tried, and they tried animating with real people and animating like their face, but it's a real person's face, and it is absolutely terrifying. It's an incredibly animated film for the time, but just a terrible, terrible animation that scares me with the characters' faces. Anyway, number 4, I'm going with Elf. I think Elf is, of course, a great Christmas movie. Will Ferrell is the best. However, it's so overplayed. It's not the best Christmas movie ever.
I agree.
I don't think it's top 3, obviously, but I think it is so overplayed, so overhyped. It's a good movie. I just think so many people say they love it, but they don't actually love it. I mean, probably the best Christmas movie of all time. You're talking about Christmas movies, but I am not a fan of Elf. One bit. I'm not a fan at all. Or no, I am a fan. I'm not a fan of how overplayed it is. Number 3, I am going with Home Alone 1. Home Alone 1. I think it compared to Home Alone 1 and 2, I think it is the worst of the two. Of course, it's the original, but I just like the Home Alone 2 plot more. And then
That is best take ever.
number
Love Home
two,
Alone too.
number two is The Grinch with Jim Carrey. Colin doesn't know who Jim Carrey is, but it's a
Well,
Jim
Jim
Carrey.
Carrey is the Price is Right guy. I don't know if
No,
they're the same person.
Jim Carrey is a an actor, who is a legend. But this was his
Nope.
breakout movie. It's his best movie. And it's just awesome. It's a very fun movie, and The Grinch it's great. And then number one's Home Alone 2. Um, it's the better Home Alone. Home Alone 2, and then he gets lost in New York. There's more action. How he absolutely beats up the two kidnappers or whatever the two heists,
I like the
whatever they
Pigeon
are.
Lady.
The Pigeon Lady's an interesting ad, but it adds something. Um, it's like she's like the new neighbor in Home Alone 1 that he was scared of, and then he was scared of the Pigeon Lady, and then she was
Yeah, you're
cool.
right.
And so
Lots of
I
cool
think Home Alone
parallels.
2's I think Home Alone 2 is the better movie. So yeah, there's my top five. It's better than Collins because Collins just put every single Home Alone movie that I
I
didn't know
did.
existed.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. After two, it really goes downhill. Home Alone
After
two is
Home Alone
not
2, it
good.
doesn't exist.
Three is not good.
I'm not
Four is
counting them.
eh. And then five and six are just fake.
Yeah, I'm just not going to count them as actual
Fair
movies.
enough.
Is Die Hard a
Can't argue
Christmas
with that
movie?
one. What's that?
Okay, never mind. All right, what's our next segment?
I think that might be the end.
We're at the
Can I do
end.
more segments? Oh my goodness.
Well, we got to talk about SeatGeek.
Oh, how could we forget? Oh my
SeatGeek.
gosh, I forgot what we were doing.
SeatGeek.
We had one more ranking.
SeatGeek is a ticket buying app that makes it so easy to buy tickets. You need a last minute Christmas gift. It's too late for Hanukkah, so you need to get Christmas. You got 3 days or 2 days really to get tickets from SeatGeek. You can get tickets for football, hockey, basketball, baseball. If you're willing to buy
Tennis.
tickets that early, tennis, swim, anything everything is on SeatGeek. I can tell you it's the official ticketing partner with the MLB. Concerts, comedy shows, anything and everything is on SeatGeek. They have I think over a
Is
million
T
things.
Swizzle all in the seat geek? Look
I
at
don't
me
think
sounding.
isn't she done? Or is
She
she
is?
is she still in Europe? I don't know. Or
Don't
South
know.
Africa.
I'm not a Swifty, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's a few of her songs are right, but anyway, so go to SeatGeek, buy your tickets now. Use code Phillies Sports Report. What are we doing, Colin?
Hold the S. We don't
Hold
want
the
the
S.
S here. The S
Uh,
got wrapped into a Christmas present and got shipped overseas. We don't want the S.
Save $20
That was a
off.
strange analogy.
Save $20 off at SeatGeek. Again, code Philly Sports Report. All one word, no S. Hold it. Save $20 off your first purchase. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring this episode. The link is in the description of the YouTube video. And for people listening, when you're done listening, go to the App Store on any device and download the SeatGeek app. Colin, what do we have to talk about next?
Are we ranking our sports experiences?
Yeah, Colin, what's the best sporting event you ever went to that you bought tickets from SeatGeek for?
Well, I did mention it earlier for a reason, and it's the U.S. Open. The tennis U.S. Open is the coolest sports experience, even if you know nothing about tennis. I know stuff about tennis now. Fun fact you probably did not know. I watch a lot of tennis and follow tennis. I was a big Serena Williams fan. Right now, I really like Ben Shelton, Daniel Medvedev. The big American female right now is Coco Gauff,
Yep.
Jess Pagula. But anyway, I'm a huge tennis person. First time I went to the U.S. Open, I had no clue what was going on. So I go with my uncle, and which is my mom's brother. They live down in New York City, and they go every year. The ins and outs of the U.S. Open, and they like jump. And how it works is it's a huge complex, has 17 courts, and there's always a match happening on every single one of the courts at all times. If you go in the beginning of the tournament, because you start with like a huge number of people, I think 128. So it starts at like 9 a.m. I want to say. I think it starts at 9, 10 a.m. and it goes to like 1, 2 in the morning every single day. For the first couple of days of the tournament, when they still have a ton of people that haven't been eliminated, and it is so fun. There's great food. You can bounce around to all the different stadiums. There's some like huge like MLB, NFL esque stadiums. So Arthur Ashe, the Grandstand, they're your big ones. Louis Armstrong, and they're like the size of Citizens Bank Park with tens of thousands of seats. And then you have small ones that literally have like little league bleachers, and you can watch tennis players 15 feet away from you. So it doesn't matter if you don't know a lick about tennis. I highly recommend going on SeatGeek, grabbing some tickets for the U.S. Open, saving some cash. I guarantee you that it will be the most fun experience ever. I love the U.S. Open. There's so
That's
much to do that's not there's, and it's like a whole other society. There's like stores in there too. Like there's an Easton store, there's a Champion store, there's like a Ralph Lauren store, like inside the complex.
wow.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's something I've always wanted to do is go to the U.S. Open. I think it's a
Do it.
very cool event. I'm not a big tennis person. Don't really
Doesn't
follow
matter.
it. I,
Do
I
it.
like to I like to play tennis. I mean,
Got to
it's
do
fun
it.
to play. So
I said the same thing. I did not want
I'll,
to go the first time I went.
I definitely want to go, but we'll see. Maybe one day we'll take a Philly sports trip. For me, Colin knows I go to a lot of sporting events, a lot of Phillies games every year. I've been to a lot of incredible Phillies playoff games, including NLCS Game 5 from last year, where Harper hit the game winning home run over Suarez in the bottom of the eighth inning. JT Realmuto was on first base, um, into left field, 2 or 3 rows back. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was at Game 1 of the NLCS this year against Arizona. I was at the Bryce Harper stare down game against the
Ooh.
Braves this year. Eagles, I've been at. We used to have season tickets for the Eagles, so we used to go to a bunch of games. I was at a game. It was actually on this day in 2019 where they beat Dallas to essentially win the NFC East. That was an incredible game. Sixers, I've been at a Sixers playoff game. Flyers, Union. I've been at a bunch of Union playoff games. Philadelphia Soul, they're coming back. Went to a Soul championship game for it. My favorite, and the best spring event I ever went to was Game 3 of the NLDS in 2022. It was the first postseason game back in Philadelphia in, what was it, 11, 12 years? 2011 was last year, so it was 11 years.
Crazy.
And that was, I mean, the whole day. We got down there a couple hours before the game started, and it was already packed. You walk in there, and it was just you could feel how special the day was going to be when you got down there. Um, it was a truly incredible experience. The pregame introductions to Aaron Nola going out there. He gave a run in the first, or he almost gave up a run in the first. Got out of it, and then third inning against Spencer Strider, and they get under his blood. Reese Hoskins bat spike, Harper homer 2 pitches later. I mean, that day was just so. It was just so much action, and it was the best crowd I've ever experienced ever. So Game 3 of the NLDS in 2022 was the best spring event I ever went to. When I tell people that, they're like, "No way, it wasn't NLCS Game 5. You were at when the Phillies clinched the National League. You were at the game where the Phillies won their first playoff series in 11 years. I was at Game 4 of the NLDS as well that next day. But Game 3 of the NLDS in 2022, definitely it was special and something I'll never forget. So hopefully one day I'll be
It's
at a
one,
game where
yeah,
the Phillies win the World Series or something that's going to top that, but nothing is going to top that for a long time.
yeah. It was just one of those moments where like we were anticipating it for so long that it almost felt surreal when we actually got to that moment. That was a good day. and I was
Yeah,
just
and
watching from the couch. So
and
definitely a great day.
that Bryson Stott double in the third inning, which started off that rally. It was like a 10 pitch at bat. I just remember the sound of the crowd when he hits that double. It felt like he could go out and feel and touch the sound that was coming from everybody. It was like I never experienced anything like it before. And if you've been to Eagles games, you know how loud it can get. But the bank gets louder than the Link in those situations. It was truly, it was special, and it's something I'll never forget.
Wow. Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up our episode today. To all of our loyal followers out there, please, 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 we send you all of our appreciation for listening in 2023. This is our last podcast of the year. In honor of that, make sure that you drop us a follow on Twitter. Our @s are right down here now. If you cannot see that because you're on Spotify or Apple Music, I am so sorry. You are going to have to find us another way. But
no, they can follow us on X, Ben Goldstein, B Goldstein PSR, Collins @Collin_Daily21. Follow us, the Bell Ringers podcast, Bell Ringers PSR on X, and then follow everybody else. The Philly Sports Reports. We're on X/Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. Follow and subscribe everywhere. If you're on YouTube, the links are in the description. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring. Thank you to FOCO for sponsoring Philly Sports Reports. Go listen to all the other podcasts. Podcasts.
Very fun. All right. Well, you guys, make sure that you enjoy the holiday season, spend it with family and friends, and get a much-needed break from the craziness of December, which I know is always a kind of crazy month for a lot of people. So make sure to embrace this time and use it wisely. Thank you all again for listening, and we will see you in the new year.
Go Phils.
Go Phillies.